Hey guys, so I want to talk about something today that I've had the chance to really review over the past week and a half, and I think I've gotten enough data about it to finally talk about it. And that is my Kindle. And guys, I have to say, I am absolutely in love with this thing. And I know there are going to be some people in the comments like,
oh my gosh, she had the money to buy a Kindle, but she cannot pay off her student loans. Oh my gosh, this is
somebody's gonna say it. So yes, I have always liked to read. I was an English and philosophy major in college, but I realized that being those things in college made me hate reading. Hate it with a passion. And I've been watching a lot of videos about why it is that school makes us hate reading so much. And it's because reading then becomes a task and a chore and something that is to be rewarded with a grade instead of something that is seen as fun and enjoyable and exciting and a better way of escapism than just scrolling through your Instagram feed. And it's actually been very interesting to see the benefits I've had over the past week of picking up my Kindle instead of just scrolling on my phone for hours, and it's been amazing. I am literally in love with this little thing. And I just want to talk about it really quick because I've got to say something about it. I have 5 reasons that I think buying a Kindle is very much worth it and very much not a waste of money like most people say. So here we go. Number 1 is that there's this age-old argument with Kindles that I just can't get over the smell of a book, and like reading a book is so intimate and the actual feeling of turning the pages. And this is true. I used to feel the same way, but at the same time I was listening to some guy on YouTube and he really put it in perspective for me. He basically said that, are you really reading these books, or are you just romanticizing the act of reading and still not reading anything at all? And I was like, oh my gosh, you're right. We spend so much time romanticizing, oh, I love the feeling of books, oh, nothing could ever replace a book. And you're right, nothing can ever replace the feeling of a hardcore book. But at the same time, that doesn't mean I'm actually reading books. You know, that just means I'm reminiscing of a time when I was a kid and I loved to read and I loved to snuggle up with a good book, but now I'd rather pull out my phone. So this little thing actually allows me to just pull it right out and just get going. It's so easy, it's so tiny, it's so portable, it's literally the size of my hand. It's not as big as a tablet, so I can hold it like easily with one hand. This is it in comparison to my phone. I got a text. And yeah, so it's really tiny and it's amazing. So reason number 2 is they're extremely portable, but I think people underestimate their portability. Like, people like to take them on trips, I've seen, and they're good for travel, which they definitely are. But I have actually just started taking it everywhere with me. Everywhere. I always put it in my bag everywhere I go, and I've learned to reach for it instead of my phone, and it has done a world of difference with the amount of productivity I feel. Like, instead of just scrolling on something and mindlessly clicking on apps, I'm actually reading a book in that time. And I actually read a study, I don't know how true it is, but it sounds pretty true to me. Tell me if this sounds true, that the average person, the average consumer, could read 200 books in a year with the same amount of time they scroll on their phone. Like that, and honestly that number sounds pretty correct. Like, I know for me, I used to spend maybe like 5 hours a day on my phone, and that a lot of that was just going through down that YouTube hole of like one video after another, and then whoo, this like documentary on YouTube. It was so much, or Netflix on your phone, or whatever it is. Those little increments of time where you pull out your phone just to mindlessly check on it for 5 minutes and then get back to what you're doing and just be so distracted. And I found that it's really helping me center back my focus, and I really like that feeling. And I know like not everybody's a reader, but I feel like if the friction, and I've heard this before too as well, like if the friction of you actually being able to read a book was lessened to the amount of friction it takes for you to get out your phone, I feel like more people would actually read. And that's why I'm doing this, because I have missed reading so much. I feel like a little kid again, just snuggled up in my room with my Kindle. It's really been a good experience for me. And so that brings me to point number 3, is how easy they are to read in every single situation. Like with a book, if you ever really read a book, you know how difficult it can be to actually read one in certain situations. While you're eating, holding a book open with your thumb, hold on. Okay, I actually went and got a book. So holding a book open with your thumb, is this right side up? Yeah. Is so much more difficult than just holding this up. And then in certain instances, you can never really get comfortable with a book in bed if you're trying to lay down, because in a second it's gonna hurt your arm, it's gonna hurt your finger, it's gonna flop over. There are so many instances where you want to read a book and it's just not comfortable. And I found that in so many instances, I can prop my Kindle up just like this, or however I'm laying, on my covers and just read, and every so often I'll click just to change the page, and it just makes life so much simpler. It just makes me want to keep reading. Technology is beautiful. That's what I'm saying. Technology really is amazing, and I know this opinion is probably different from a lot of people's, and I know I'm probably gonna get shit for this about how it will never replace a book. And again, I say it again, it will never replace a real book, but it will probably make you read a lot more. What is more important, the book itself, reading a book, or the actual text that's in a book? So number 4, I've realized the beauty of reading multiple books at once. I used to look at people who did this like, what? Either they were really smart or just really weird, like, who reads multiple books at once? But I read this somewhere that reading books is just like anything else. Like, sometimes you're in the mood for this TV show and sometimes you're in the mood for a good movie. When I'm in certain situations, I would rather read, I've realized, just a fiction book. And it's just easier to comprehend, easier to grasp when I'm like around people. I can retain my focus much easier. But when I'm at home, I'll maybe read like a self-help or a philosophy book or something that's more challenging, but that I'm in a space to really fully comprehend it and listen to its message, and I'm in a good headspace. There are so many instances where you're just in the mood for different things, and books really are no different. And I have been in love with that idea. I've read 3 different books in a week and a half, and it's been amazing. And so that brings me to my final point, number 5, is that you can pick what you want to read without being judged. And I've heard that like so many times where people are like, I like seeing what people are reading so I can start a conversation with them and blah blah blah. And the truth is, not everybody wants to start a conversation about the book they're reading. I don't. I like to read what I like to read, and I like to read it for myself. I feel like the relationship between a person and their book should be private, you know, and that's okay. If you want to read 50 Shades of Grey, like, girl, on the train, like, go for it. But no one has to know what you're reading, you know? And I realized this. I used to want to read Harry Potter, but I was kind of self-conscious about the fact that what would a grown woman look like reading Harry Potter at my age, you know? And I know that's like a stupid fear to some people, but to others, it's like, it's a kid's book. And even though everybody watches the movies, it's like Harry Potter was one of those things you read when you were in like high school, middle school. I'm an adult, and so it would make me a little more self-conscious. And so I can do that now. If I wanted to, I could read Harry Potter and no one would know, and that's actually a pretty good feeling. I don't want people knowing what I'm reading. If you ask and we want to have a conversation, that's one thing, but it's up to my discretion, you know, if I really want to talk about these things or not. I think this is a really good topic, and I think it should be discussed more because I do love books, and I've really gotten back into it, and it's thanks to this little guy. I love it. I love it so much. Every time somebody talks to me, I'm like, hold on, this part is good. So that's my 2 cents on why you should buy a Kindle and why I think it is most definitely worth it. I got this on sale too, and it was maybe like $80. This is the Amazon Kindle Paperwhite, in case you were wondering. I love it so much. I would go with this one over the basic one, just because I read a lot of reviews that the basic one, like, it's not that great. Get this one. This one is worth it, especially if it's still on sale. And you can also borrow books from your local library, ebooks. And I'm actually about to go get my library card now. I'm still on my like 1 month free Kindle Unlimited, and I kind of like Kindle Unlimited, but I kind of don't, because it doesn't have a lot of, it has a lot of self-published books, like indie books, but not a lot of, I wouldn't say mainstream, but mainstream books like that you would want to read, that you see other people reading. And it's kind of like, you have to really search for a good book. You have to really search. That's what I'm finding out. And I don't know if I want to keep doing that. So I'm about to go get a library card and just borrow books and return them. I can read them in 2 weeks, and if I don't, well, I'll read another one. I don't know. But it's just, it's so good to have every book I need right here. Like, once you finish a book, it reduces the friction of me needing to find another one. I just go into my like Kindle Unlimited and find another one, and boom, I'm reading another book in like 20 minutes after I've searched the web for one. So I think it is a great little device. Great little device. And I don't regret this purchase at all. Great leaders are readers. So keep that in mind. Buy yourself a Kindle if you want to. I don't know. I'm not here to tell you what to do, but I am here to tell you what I think. So yeah. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. That's all I have to say for this video, and I'll see you in the next one.